Ambassador of the Council of Europe No Hate Speech Movement, Ms. Brasseur. Welcome to our Medibox platform. I would like to start first with the main objective and the aim of this movement. What you mention when you say no hate and no hate speech?
Well, that movement in fact has been started by young people of the advisory panel of the Council of Europe. So after what happened on the 22nd of July 5 years ago in Oslo and Utøya, when 77 people, mostly young people, lost their lives through an act of hatred. And then young people said, we have to stop hate speech online, and that's how the whole started. And then as Parliamentary Assembly, we then said, well, we have also to make a parliamentary alliance to say no to hate. And parliamentarians have a huge responsibility in drawing a red line. And what we have to do is to have all democratic forces, even beyond politics, to draw a red line and to say no. We put a heart in place of it and say no to hate, because hate undermines or destroys our democratic systems. There are three elements, among others, threatening our democratic systems. It's poverty, it's corruption, and hate. So you have a huge responsibility, and I'm proud to be the ambassador of this campaign, and I try to convince others to join it. It's only together that we can stop this phenomenon, which is really a threat to our democratic systems.
And today in the Council of Europe, we had a chance to discuss this campaign and movement, No Hate Speech movement, in different platforms, because on the occasion of the European Conference of Presidents of Parliaments, now you are in the Council of Europe, and now we are doing our interview. So what would you like to say about especially the role of parliaments on that point, and how can parliaments can mobilize to fight against hate, especially for inclusive and non-racist societies, what they can do?
Well, first of all, there must be awareness raising. When the campaign was started of the Council of Europe in 2013, some said, do we need it, and doesn't this put a limit to the freedom of speech? Well, no, of course I'm defending the freedom of speech, but there must be a limit, and we must see that there is a limit. So that is first rising of the awareness. And then second, parliamentarians themselves, in their daily speech, they must be a role model, and not to put water on the mill of the populists, which happens from time to time, and to be inclusive and not exclusive. Because otherwise, if we are going to widen up the gap in our societies, we are going to have a few societies but we need one community to form one society. So it's for the next generation that we have to do it. What parliaments can do is, in all their speeches, despite the political differences, to say no to hate, and that there is a limit, and take action whenever, and speak up whenever there is an attempt on the integrity of somebody of the minority. Or hate can lead to crimes, as we saw it in Utøya, or Jo Cox, the MP from the UK, who was murdered because she wanted the UK to stay in the EU. And that is not acceptable. So that phenomenon, we have to stick together and to combat hate. It's a huge responsibility for politicians, parliaments, but also governments. And I want the campaign to go beyond the political sphere. And that's why I try to convince people also of different areas like sports or religion. I had Pope Francis, who is supporting our movement, as well as yesterday Dalai Lama did.
And probably you had bilateral meetings, and you met with your also colleagues here from the different member states. There were representatives and presidents of the parliaments. What would you like to say about their reactions and support? What are your outcomes of these meetings?
Well, I have been now campaigning for quite a time, also as president of the Parliamentary Assembly, so I met a number of presidents of parliaments, and they all supported it. It started in Norway with the Norwegian president of the parliament, and then in Italy, they set up in Italy a committee in parliament against no hate speech to see where the limit is and to react immediately if red lights are lightening up. So it is important, and I have a lot of support. I was invited to Germany when they launched their national campaign. I was invited to Austria with the Speaker of the Austrian Parliament. So there are already a number of parliamentarians, speakers of parliaments, who are convinced, and we have to continue. And I want them to bring that back home and to take action, and also to do something in education. We added it as a Council of Europe bookmarks, how to fight against hate speech. And that should enter into the curricula of the schools. So I want the speakers to take it back home to their committees on education affairs, and also to hand it over to governments, because that is also a subject that must be treated in schools.
Thank you for joining us, Ms.
Thank
Brasseur.
you so much.